In this video, I'm going to explain what I think is a good sequence of topics at level 2 to give you a nice progression through the 10 topic sessions. And I'm a little bit torn between two different approaches, starting from easy sections and working your way up to the more difficult sections, or getting those difficult sections out of the way first. Gives you a lot of time to think and reflect on those difficult sections and working your way to the easy sections. I myself, when I approach a problem, I like to tackle the most difficult part of it first. I know that I'm not going to solve it right away, but if I tackle the most difficult part and move my way to the easy part of the content, my mind will reflect on the difficult stuff, and over time it will solve connections or problems that I couldn't get right away. But I want to give my mind the most amount of time to think about a difficult problem. I don't want to solve it the night before. A difficult problem, by the way, can be solved the night before. You just can't start thinking about it the night before. If you start thinking about a difficult problem 2 weeks in advance, your mind will work on it. And you can literally solve it the night before. But you can't start it the night before. So I like the difficult to easy approach. But then there's those who say, no, I want to build up to it. Give me the easy to difficult approach. So I've broken down the readings into 3 buckets here. An easy category, medium, and challenging. And in red, I put what I believe the challenging readings are. Look at how they concentrate under the challenging section here. So easy, what's easy? Equity, corporate finance, and ethics. Ethics you've seen at level 1. Ethics, I think, is one of those topics where you really want to save it to just a week or 2 before the exam, because this is stuff you're going to put in your short-term memory. It is not intuitive. I wish it were. I think that by the time you get to level 3, you've seen it so many times, and well, it's your 3rd time seeing it, that it starts to really internalize for you. But it is one of those topics that do take a while to internalize. There's a lot there. It's about 140, 150 pages in just that one reading about the code and standards. But equity and corporate finance, super easy. Equity's big. There's a lot of readings there, and each reading is long, 80, 90 pages, and it seems like there's just a lot of content there, but really there's nothing challenging in equity. There's nothing challenging in corporate finance. When I get questions at level 2, I hardly get any questions at corporate finance. I get very few at equity. They're easy. Moving on to medium is FRA and alternative investments. In fact, I get very few questions at alternative investments. I could put it over to the easy side, but there are 4 readings. They all have sort of different approaches to valuating alternative investments that, well, okay, so there's more heavier valuation and a variety of valuation targets. I put it in medium. FRA, yeah, I'll put that in medium as well. Reading 15 and 16 are considered the more challenging at level 2. Reading 15, I believe, is on pension compensation, and reading 16 is on currency translation. That kind of makes things a little bit tricky. There's a new reading at level 2 on analysis of financial institutions, and while it's interesting and it's long, it's not challenging at all when it talks about an introduction to the analysis of financial institutions. It really is that, an introduction, so I don't find that to be challenging, but it's there. Moving over to from the medium to the challenging topics: quant economics, fixed income derivatives. In quant, multiple regression and time series. These are considered the 2 big challenging ones in quant. And this year for multiple regression, the last 20 pages are new for multiple regression, all about machine learning, which can be, I think it's rather straightforward, but it's difficult to see in your mind exactly what they're talking about sometimes when they talk about the models. So I brought in a couple other videos that I found on YouTube that really give a good visual explanation. But again, multiple regression, time series. If you're not strong quantitatively, if level 1 quant wasn't your big soup, especially the readings on probability distributions and hypotheses testing, you want to give yourself a little more time on that. Economics, I think it's fairly straightforward, but I mean that was what I mostly focused on in university. The reading on currency valuation and economic growth, those can be challenging to get your head around. But once you get through them, once you see what's going on, again, you got to work through it though. But once you work through it, yeah, it looks fairly straightforward after that. But getting to the other side can be tough. Fixed income and derivatives considered the 2 most challenging at level 2. Fixed income is all about valuation of bonds with complexity. In other words, there's embedded options, whether they be puts or calls, whether they be floating rate bonds with floors or caps. It's bonds with complexity. Reading 34, 35, 36. There's 3 in a row that, yeah, can be rather challenging. Derivatives. If you didn't like derivatives at level 1, you're not going to like it at level 2. There are 7 particular derivative contracts that you price out. And then the reading 40 is pricing of contingent claims, which is options. So you got 7 contracts that are considered commitments, forwards and futures, and you've got contingent claims. So you've got options at reading 40. And yeah, Black-Scholes is there, waiting for you like Darth Vader. Black-Scholes is there. So that's considered rather challenging. And I put portfolio management sort of in the middle of the two. Reading 50, which is the analysis of active management, is considered the more challenging one there. But there are 2 others, one on using economics for valuation and one for factor analysis or factor models, which can be rather challenging as well. But I straddled it between medium and challenging because I don't quite think it's that challenging, but I don't think it's quite medium. So there you go. You can start with the easy sections, build into the medium sections, and then say, you know what, I'm going to fight the challenging stuff after I build the base of flow, or I cognitively work out my brain for a while before I hit the heavyweights. Or you can say, you know what, let's get these in my brain as soon as possible. Maybe I'm not going to understand everything I get to on my first pass, but it'll be in my brain. And as I go to the medium, to the easy ones, maybe these little problems will eat away at my mind, and I'll wake up sometimes say, that's it, I got it, I just understood it now. And maybe, get it in your brain, leave it for a month, come back to it. You might have more clarity each time you see it again. Whichever way you want to go. My strategy is always, let's get the difficult stuff into my head first, even though I know I'm not going to solve it. If I do, great. But if not, well, time will help me with the heavy lifting, so that as long as the questions are in my head, at least I know solutions when I see them. So I may be watching something else on YouTube or reading something else somewhere else, and I go, that's the connection I missed. That's the missing thing. Now I can see how it fits together. And then it also allows you to ask better questions, because sometimes you can't understand something about A and B. There's something going on, but you don't even know what the question would be. You look at it, you go, well, I don't understand what's going on, but I don't even know what question to ask to help me understand that. Over time, you might say, I get what's going on. Now, if I only had this little missing piece of information, suddenly your question becomes a little bit more directing and a little bit more penetrating on what you need it to answer. So there we go. Easy to difficult or difficult to easy. You take your pick.